Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Roger Stone joins us now to talk about the collapsing Russia narrative. Of course, Roger has been a hot topic on the Hill lately. Apparently, he's colluding with Russia. Complete nonsense. Roger, what is the latest in the collapsing Russian narrative?
Pardon me, I was on the other line with Vladimir Putin. Let me get rid of this call.
Oh, okay. Yeah, make sure you finish that talking point with him.
I mean, look, this is an absurdity. This whole thing is a damnable lie. But what's happened here is the deep state used the ruse of Russian collusion in the Trump campaign as their rationale and their justification for surveillance of the president. When Donald Trump tweeted only a few days ago that he was the subject of wiretapping, we understood he meant surveillance and bugging in the broader sense, and he has proven to be right. And frankly, I think we have just seen the tip of the iceberg. So I can tell you this. I had no collusion with the Russians. I think Manafort will be proven to have had none. And I believe this fellow Carter Page will probably be exonerated also. So their whole phony rationalization is collapsing. And it becomes clear that their motivation was naked politics. And we have proof through her Twitter feed that Hillary Clinton was being kept informed. She says days before the election, computer scientists, that would be the feds, have uncovered a server at Trump Tower that is in touch with a Russian bank. We now know that malware has been found in Trump Tower that would mimic that. It was a setup.
I'd like to move forward with this for a second. You know, what we saw with the Hillary Clinton email hearings coming out of James Comey, if you recall, was basically we have all this damning evidence, but I can't persecute. I cannot do it. Nobody in their right mind would do it. Why? Because he couldn't prove intent. Remember that beautiful key word he used, intent. You know, I have a feeling that the Democrats or the anti-Trumpers are going to use the same argument because it's already come out, Roger. The surveillance was there. We have the data. We have the taps. So I think they're going to do it.
Exactly. Well, but there are deeper problems here. You see, because Chairman Nunes rather skillfully waited until after the hearing to disclose what he knew, Comey and Rogers have now seriously perjured themselves. We're going to learn that Lynch and others have lied about this. I think this is the beginning of the end for Obama. This is the unraveling, perhaps jail sentences for his whole front line. Because in addition, we know they abused the information they had. In my case, if I was being wiretapped under a FISA warrant, which I believe I was, according to the New York Times of January 20th, of this year, then the leaking of that to the New York Times and to the Smoking Gun, a lefty fake news site, is a felony in itself. I have committed no felonies, but they've committed felonies within the intelligence agency through these leaks. I think this is a rapidly collapsing Watergate type situation that will bring down everybody before it's over.
And you talk about the repercussions of those that are spreading this false narrative. How much of this Trump wiretapping tweet was just a piece of cheese laid out there for all the rats to come flock to?
Well, I mean, the president would not have put this out in a tweet without having a very solid source or sources. And he has been adamant that he would be proven to be right. His lily-livered country club advisors, Ryan Priebus and Sean Spicer, have been trying to talk him into walking it back and apologize to the Brits. You hurt their feelings. The Brits are cutouts. By the way, we still don't know who conducted all of the surveillance. I want to stress, Chairman Nunes has seen the tip of the iceberg. There is far more. Trump is even righter than we know, I suspect. And I, like others, I wait for the next tranche of documents.
I'm just curious. Now, I said this a minute ago. I think the Democrat response to this, the anti-Trump response to this is going to be, oh, okay, well, sure, there was some surveillance on him or unwitting surveillance or whatever, but there was no intent. We didn't intend to spy on him. We didn't intend to know what he was doing or what he was up to.
I just don't think that's going to pass muster. I mean, what reason could you possibly have for listening to the president-elect of the United States surreptitiously? I mean, look, in my own case, there's no doubt that I spoke to candidate Trump numerous times in October, which means every one of our phone conversations was being monitored and recorded without probable cause or without any evidence of Russian collusion on my part. This notion that my now completely public and brief exchange with Crucifer 2, a hacker that may or may not be a Russian asset, somehow constitutes collusion is disproved by the content, which is ambiguous and innocuous. The timing, it happens long after the release and the hacking and release of the documents I'm accused of colluding with him on. So it's disproved by the timing and the content and the facts.
So what do you think the repercussions there are? Now, you've obviously talked about perjury potentially for Comey, but what are the repercussions of all these people that keep spouting this narrative, especially with the no wiretapping claims, even though we have the proof in triplicate? Is there going to be serious consequences here, or is it just going to be like, guess what? You're not going to get elected again.
No, I think a bunch of people will go to jail. I think he could clean out the entire front line, the second line of desks at the intelligence agencies and the FBI, where the rank and file members who are patriotic Americans trying to do their job are chafing under the political control of the Obama people who are using these government bureaucracies for political purposes. The FBI and the CIA, in the case of the FBI, once respected as non-political, but now completely politicized, and the CIA has a long record, as you know, of lies, lying about Benghazi, lying about weapons of mass destruction, lying about rendition, lying about so many issues. Their credibility is shot.
Yeah, the CIA and the mainstream media's credibility is shot as well. Roger, I'm just curious, what are you hearing behind the scenes about Devin Nunes? Because to me, it seemed like he was kind of playing possum with the Democrats, going after Trump on all these questions. But then when he got no answers as far as the Russian connection, he came out on the other end and said, guess what? I do have evidence that Trump was actually being surveilled. Now I'm seeing conflicting headlines today saying he's backing off those assertions. Some saying he's wanting closed hearings to talk about them. What are you hearing about Nunes and his developments behind closed doors?
Well, first of all, I think this guy is a profile in courage in terms of the way he waited and let the Democrats suck themselves in. He's a whistleblower, in my opinion. This guy, Schiff, is just, I don't know what pile of dung he climbed out from under, but he's a demagogue. In my case, he engaged in red baiting and distortions and fear mongering and this kind of over the top charges and insinuations of treason. And I want to face this guy in the hearings. My attorneys only hours ago sent a letter to Chairman Nunes, first reported at Infowars.com, making it clear that I will testify voluntarily. And I would like to do so in public session. I have nothing whatsoever to hide, and I'm anxious to explode this mainstream media created myth of a Russian conspiracy to elect Donald Trump.
You know, Paul Manafort has now made similar comments saying he wants to go and have a public hearing. He would like to make public statements. Have you gotten a legit response from any of these people making these allegations? Are they actually going to bring you out into a hearing, or is it all just talk?
Unclear. They've all called for me for a hearing, but I'm not sure they really. They may not know what they are asking for. As you know, sometimes be careful what you wish for because you may get it. I have written a respectful letter to the chairman today, or my lawyers have, making it clear that I feel that I was smeared by the committee. And again, the real importance here is not Roger Stone. It is just exploding the Russian myth, which is their last defense for wiretapping the president. If that goes, then their criminal intent becomes naked. And that is why they're so desperate to make even a phony case. I cannot speak for Paul Manafort, but I cannot see how a contract with a rich Russian guy that ended in 2009 can constitute collusion in 2016. Unless the oligarch or Manafort had a crystal ball and could know that Donald Trump would emerge as president and then out of the blue ask him to manage his campaign, that's unknowable.
Roger Stone, we're running out of time. Real quick, have any of your lawyers suggested slander lawsuits or defamation?
We are examining, remember, suing the Senate, the government is always extremely difficult. But we're examining our options because this has obviously had a chilling effect on my ability to make a living. On the other hand, everything relating to this Russian fraud is very carefully laid out in greater detail than we could get to here today in my book, The Making of the President 2016. I anticipated these questions about Russia coming up, and I addressed them in great detail.
Roger Stone?
John Podesta, the whole thing, it's all there.
Roger Stone, thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here. Many thanks.
This is one of the biggest secrets out there. The missing link of why our ancestors, whether you were in Africa or ancient Albion, which is England today, why our ancestors were so much stronger. I mean, there are huge archaeological reports, all sorts of anthropology studies, you can look them up for yourself, that show that humans, just an average farmer of 10,000 years ago in England, was stronger than Olympic athletes today. In the final equation, everyone knows our modern society has lost its vitality. The sperm counts are down like 90%. People are falling apart. They're totally depressed. They're unhappy. What is going on? Every ancient culture was obsessed with what I'm about to reveal to you. Today we call it bone broth, and for thousands of years our ancestors enjoyed its benefits before it became lost to our modern diets of processed junk. That's why I'm so excited to announce the product that is undoubtedly the jewel in the crown of Infowars Life products. Caveman. We lost our vitality because we just ignored the ancient traditions. Everyone knew that you used all the parts of the animal. You used the skin to cover yourself or for shelter. You used the meat for sustenance, the fat for cooking, but you used the bones for strength. We are now introducing Caveman by InfoWarsLife.com, the ultimate in true paleo nutrition with bone broth, turmeric root, chaga mushroom, and 7 total primal superfoods in a single great tasting formula. The bone is so amazing. From the outside structure full of minerals and key cofactors to the marrow that produces the blood for the body. This is the engine of the life essence. I've made a lot of important points here, but this is the one you need to research for yourself because it's so key. High-quality bone broth helps support healthy muscles and connective tissue, while the active compounds in turmeric do battle on the cellular level and help fight free radicals. And collagen is essential to aid healthy tendons, ligaments, and muscle tissue. This is an absolute win-win. You get an amazing product produced right here in America. You support InfoWars and all we're doing to promote freedom and the restoration of our republic and promotion of freedom worldwide. The journey towards better health and giving our bodies these amazing compounds that God created starts at InfoWarsLife.com. 3 years in the making, incredible research, and the very best ingredients. I'm Alex Jones, and I may not be a caveman, but compared to these trendies out there in the street, I'm as close as it gets. Join me at InfoWarsLife.com and get your caveman formula today.